was experiencing extreme bouts of abdominal pain since I was pretty little. And being a military brat, I went to probably, I don't know, a lot of hospitals in Canada. Probably a month's stay in Quebec, and lots of stays in Trenton and Sick Kids in Toronto. And the going theme was, oh my God. I think you've had too much candy, little girl. Because the doctors had no answers. And my mom kind of fell for it, because doctors know everything, right? Are there any doctors here? We're good. So my tweens and my teens, I spent hiding my pain because there was really no point in sharing it. It wasn't going to go anywhere. And I'm pretty sure my mom thought it was either all in my head or I was acting out for attention. And we had a lot going on in our household growing up, so I can't fault her for that, really. So fast forward to when I was in my 20s. I'm on a phone with a girlfriend while I'm experiencing what I thought was another horrendous flu. So we're talking about our schedules, right? So she says, oh God, I go at least twice a day. And I said, oh my God, isn't that excessive? She goes, no, I think it's pretty normal. I go, oh my God, I think I go like once a month. Yeah, that's what she said. She said, get to a doctor right away, quick. I was like, a doctor? Do I really want to do this again? And I thought, okay, I'm an adult now. It's time to solve the greatest mystery of my life. And so I made an appointment with a specialist, but this time I went armed because we had a medical dictionary at home. So I made a list of all these symptoms I had for everything, and I didn't realize that they all kind of had one source. So when I went to the GI specialist, the gastrointestinologist, I said, could I have celiac disease? So he took offense to that because he thought I was self-diagnosing. And one of the symptoms I did not have was I was not underweight. I was probably about 5 pounds lighter then than I am now. And he kind of fat shamed me. And then when it came time to do the scope, it didn't go well. It was a little harsh, and the results were inconclusive. So yeah, I felt like giving up, totally, but I didn't. I found another specialist, and I was diagnosed with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. Lovely dinner topic. I'm glad none of you are eating right now. With a spastic colon, so technically that makes me a spaz. It's official. So he put me on this awful liquid medication that I had to take every day. And something about it it didn't feel right. The other thing he told me was, there are lots of people out there suffering far more than me. This is my cross to bear. So he was basically telling me to suck it up. It's like, yeah, it just felt like here we go again. And it also felt like my instincts said, no way. So is it ironic that I had to trust my gut instincts? I think not. So this is where I believe my artistic practice, because I've been drawing since I was a kid. It was my happy place, which I think some of you guys can relate to. So this is my newest painting, and I'm just going to bring you through the process a little bit so that I can then explain how I feel it's helped me solve this major problem for me. So I started out with this big idea, this vision. I wanted to do something with Greta. I wanted to put her in armor. And I wanted to do something with the Celtic knots that I love to do. And then I do caricatures. So you guys can look at it more carefully later. So there's a lot of all of me in this. I look like a complicated person when you look at this. But so I started out with the vision. And with the vision, I sourced materials and pictures. I had all kinds of pictures of armors, all kinds of pictures of Greta Thunberg. And I sketch and erase until I've got this design. And then I start putting it together on the illustration board. So Then I come to painting it. So I have a system I call mix and fix. So you mix the paint, and then you keep mixing it till you've got it. You can put it on the canvas because I'm using acrylic, which changes color as it dries. It either can go darker or lighter. So that's the mix and fix. And then you're painting. And you'd be surprised at how often a person who you think has a steady hand will mess up as they go. I mess up a lot. So I go through this system where I ask myself questions because you can drive yourself nuts. So I ask myself, how can I? How can I fix this? How can I make it better? Do I need to turn this light off and this light on to avoid the glare? Do I need to add more water to the paint as I load my brush? Do I need to change my brush? How can I make it easier? How can I make it go better? Until I'm finished. So the last and most important part is persistence. So the questions and persistence kind of work together. They're very helpful. So how does that relate to my health issues? Well, the vision part is I started out with a vision of a healthy me. I had no idea how I was going to get there, but that was the vision. And that vision of the healthy me is very powerful because it's filled with hope. And I added questions to that, like how can I deal with my pain? How can I find what the source of my pain is? There's something that a lot of us do that I find I have to catch myself with a lot. I ask myself the wrong question. So a good example of the wrong question would be, what's wrong with me? Why do I mess everything up all the time? Your brain can't do anything with that, right? Your brain can't come to an answer. It can't build you to a more positive place. But what it can do when I ask myself that kind of stuff is I start believing it. I start believing I mess up all the time. I start believing the negative stuff. So the reality is none of us can mess everything up all the time, right? So good questions start with how. How can I? And then perseverance. You know, when you start with the positive vision, perseverance makes it a little easier. So in the case of my issues, most of them were food intolerances. So I started out giving up wheat. Helped. It was great for a little while, and then it wasn't good enough. And then I gave up milk, way better, but not good enough. Soy, much improved, but I still wasn't there. So it was many years of a long process. Eventually I found a nutritionist, and I found a naturopath. Nutritionists are great. Don't confuse them with dietitians. Nutritionists are very well educated. So I ended up taking a blood test for my food allergies. I think it cut out a lot of years of cutting out more foods. And then, I had to cut out foods that I would never have thought I would be unable to eat, like potatoes. Who can't eat potatoes? So it took me 25 years to get to this point. 25 years of persistence and lots of questions that a lot of health professionals didn't necessarily appreciate. And I think the vision of the healthy me is kind of what helped the most. And I think I wouldn't have got there if I didn't trust my own instincts and listen to my own body. And I could fault the medical system that we have for leaving me or just not getting me all the way. But the reality is I'm responsible for my own health and how I treat my body. And there are other people. There are lots of people with great educations, great backgrounds, real heart who can help you, who have helped me. So I'm truly grateful. Without them, I don't think I'd be making art, and I don't think I'd have the energy, or I wouldn't feel confident enough to do it. So I'm a grateful artist up here. The additional benefits of creating art is it is very meditative. For instance, if I'm trying to paint a straight line, not my favorite thing, straight lines. But so let's say I've got my paintbrush loaded and I'm here trying to paint my straight line. Hold my breath. let her go. There's hours of that. So when you're done, you're really calm and you're really relaxed. That's why we're so damn happy when we're done a painting or a drawing. And then when I'm done, I've got a little piece of me to share with the world. So thank you.